Well, Arsenal is playing a team which goes by the names of Wolverhampton Wanderers today. It's the late kick-off and it closes the day. Arsenal really has a chance to go on and be stretch further, more 3 points ahead of Man City. You know that very well because Man City opened up the day with a loss to Brentford, meaning that Arsenal are really going to be 5 points ahead of Man City for they go ahead and really win this game of football against a side which goes by the names of Wolverhampton Wanderers. So it's taking place at Molineux. I believe in an hour's time from now, you're going to be live onto this channel letting you know what is happening right down at the Molineux and what is the confirmed team news, as Arsenal would have really portrayed it out to the crowd. So thank you very much for watching, and Rokani David remains my name. As usual, we are here to bring you the transfer news. The transfer news show is back, fully unpacked. You know, we are going to the World Cup and very many teams are really looking at really signing new players. And results right now, Newcastle is hosting Chelsea. Close to 20 minutes played, it's 0-0. But let's get to the big story of the day, as Arsenal are targeting to sign both Tielemans and Danilo. And who reported this first? It's Ekrem Kona. You know him, he's a French journalist who is really so much close to certain sources. And when you see Youri Tielemans, who was in France, and this guy coming in from France reporting it, he shows you that he's a global transfer expert, and he says he's from Turkey. That is Ekrem Kona. He has told us that Arsenal are planning moves for Leicester City's midfielder Youri Tielemans and the 21-year-old midfielder who plays for Palmeiras in January. That is Ekrem Kona. After Ekrem Kona, we have a story coming in from Grammy Bailey. He told us that Arsenal are ready to move for both Youri Tielemans and Danilo in January. Then, in a very vast conversation, all tweet he really made, he told us that Arsenal are ready to push hard with their interest in the midfield duo of Tielemans and Danilo in January. The Gunners' plans look likely to include a bid for Tielemans, who won't be extending his contract at Leicester City that expires in June. That's it. So when you look at the sources coming out right now, it looks like Arsenal really want to go on and really reinforce its midfield. Why is this so? I believe that Sambi Lokonga has failed to reach the expectations of Mikel Arteta, and maybe his development won't be right at Arsenal, because right now there is a lot of pressure at Arsenal and you need a player who has ever done it before and who has really faced such situations in very many games or scenarios. When you look at Youri Tielemans, he played in the World Cup of 2018 and I think they finished third. He has been playing in the Euros and he is really one of those experienced players. However much is 25 years of age, we believe he can come in and really do a better job than Sambi Lokonga. The likes of El Nini, I think he's really limited, according to me, as a single pivot player. Reason being, nowadays single pivot players also add on a lot while going forward. So what does that mean? It means he has to go on and really do the needful and really improve on his game. But at his age, do you believe he can add on that? Because it requires him to be so much mobile and so much tenacious. Will he do that? I doubt. So I believe when he's weighing into the midfielders he's having as a backup of Grant Xhaka and Thomas Partey, he believes he needs to get in more two midfielders, obviously, because these two are not really going to get him what he wants. That's it. When you look at Sambi Lokonga, I believe he deserves to be given a loan to go and get developed, like you saw Saliba. If at all he can be loaned to a team that can really give him a very good challenge to play close to 38 games a season, obviously I believe Sambi Lokonga returned at Arsenal as the untouchables, as you see William Saliba returned from Marseille as an untouchable, and you're going to see Nuno Tavares too returning back at Arsenal in the summer, and I believe that KNTN is going to be sold by Arsenal in the summer, because when you look at the form that Nuno Tavares is really showing at Marseille, he deserves really to go on and really come on and really tussle it out with Zinchenko in the left back position of Arsenal. Not so, that's it. So it shows that Arsenal are really interested in these two players. But when you look at Danilo, 20 million pounds, 25 million pounds, a bid that was made towards the end of the summer on the deadline day, and it was really turned down by Palmeiras, and they told them that this player will be available only and only in January, not now, because they feel that they're going to go on and really win the Champions League of South America. So that's what they told Arsenal. So it looks like Arsenal are so much onto that player, and obviously we all know that Danilo is really a Brazilian, and you know who is the technical football director of Arsenal. I think the football director is Edu, is Brazilian in nature, and he loves everything that these Brazilians keep on to go on and really doing for his team. And obviously he loves them a lot, and he wants to go on and really bring in more and more Brazilians at Arsenal. For Youri Tielemans is a darling to Mikel Arteta, and as I've always told you that Mikel Arteta is eyeing those players that he was at Man City and Pep Guardiola had agreed on with the board to go on and really sign. Tielemans was one of them. He was supposed to cross to Man City, I think, in the season of, I think, 2020, but they are selling him expensively, close to £65 million, and Man City thought that, oh, that's a lot of money to spend on Youri Tielemans, and they couldn't go out and really sign in a player like him at that juncture. But as things stand now, we are just here waiting to see what is going to come up from that Tielemans source, because looks like things are really going on well for people like Mikel Arteta, and his team is really playing very well, and Mikel Arteta is really calling in for more enforcements from the club of Arsenal, because the club really has to go on and really back the manager every time he calls up for something that is lacking at the club, and his efforts have really gone ahead to be appreciated. How have they been appreciated? Look at what Arsenal is at right now. They are topping the league. If at all they win today, they are going to go 5 points clear, entering Christmas top of the league. And you know what history says about teams that really play or that really end Christmas where they're top of the league, and if at all they are there, it means that they need to reinforce. And how do you reinforce? You go all out and really bring in Tielemans and Danilo. It's a very good narrative for Arsenal to bring in these players. Secondly, when you bring in these two players, you are like replacing the double pivot of Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey. It's always good in an elite midfield that is modern to be having one midfielder who is right-footed and the other who is left-footed, because the left-footed player finds it easy to pass off to the left, and the right is really dynamic and he can pass anywhere, but that left midfielder is always needed. So Danilo is left-footed and Tielemans is right-footed, meaning that if at all Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka are rested, you can get in Youri Tielemans, who is right-footed, and Danilo, who is left-footed. Danilo playing as a central defensive midfielder, with Tielemans playing as a box-to-box midfielder. And I believe Arsenal fans have been really excited with the form of Tielemans, and Tielemans is playing a lot of football nowadays amidst how he started the season, because he wants a move. He wants to be sold in January, or else to go out to Arsenal on a free in the summer. And I believe, according to what Arsenal has been doing, Tielemans we can only go to Arsenal. Reason being, he wanted to go to Arsenal when Arsenal had not even reached this level of competing for the title. Now, in this title race where they're having a battle with Man City, I believe Tielemans will can't sort to a team which goes against Man City, and obviously he just has to go on and really do the needful and really join the club. Now, Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers on Youri Tielemans said, it's not something we are thinking of selling Tielemans, and not anything the club have said we need to do. We don't want to be offloading our best players, that's for sure. So, when you hear the manager say this, you just understand that they are not in a position, or strong position, to keep the player. What does that mean? It means that they are really in a very bitter situation, that it's hard for themselves to find the best out of themselves to keep this player. And what are they going to do? Obviously, they have to go on and really sell the player. Do you know why? They are not in a better position to come up and really keep this player in the names of Youri Tielemans. And if at all they don't sell him, they are going to lose him on a free. And they have two things to choose on: losing Youri Tielemans on a free, or else get relegated. I believe if Leicester City sell Tielemans in January and they don't get a perfect replacement, I think a relegation is not going to be far away from where they are. However much they've won 2-1 against West Ham, they look like they are back and resurrected. But if you get out Tielemans out of Leicester, I think you would have unticked one of the boxes that has really led them to winning very many games after that disastrous start of the season. So the manager really wants to keep the player, but I think the board will go in and really look in for money terms and say, all right, if they are getting us money, let's sell this player, because Tielemans has made it clear he's not going to renew his contract at Leicester City. He wants to try something out elsewhere. For Danilo, 21 years of age, he really fits the plan and obviously the age bracket at which Arsenal is really signing players, and the consideration is right and coming in at the very perfect time for Mikel Arteta to get in these players, because Thomas Partey is unreliable. However much he has not been injured ever since playing against Brentford, he has featured in every game Arsenal has played after that game of Brentford. But you never know, there are games that you might be needing him and won't be out, and he will be away. So will Enini get the job done? All right. Will this player, will Sambi Lokonga fill the void? I doubt, because looks like the boots of Thomas Partey are too huge for players at Arsenal. So that is it. Arsenal is really targeting two players, Danilo and obviously Tielemans, to their club. But if they get Tielemans, they would have really gotten a bargain, an absolute bargain. From them bargaining for him in the season of 2021, they wanted 65 million pounds. Arsenal was offering 45, and the deal collapsed to Arsenal going in, offering 25 million pounds in the summer, and Leicester was wanting 35 to 45 million pounds. Arsenal pulled out, and they tried out Danilo. We tried signing Douglas Luiz. Everything failed, and they said, all right, we failed to sign a midfielder at the end of the season, and let's see what you're really going to go on and do. So that is what Arsenal has been all about, and everything right about now is in favor of Arsenal, because the player is now left with how many months? Because the contract is expiring on the 30th of June, and he will be a free agent, meaning that Arsenal will get him on a free. So it depends on Mikel Arteta whether he urgently needs him now. He will go on and really sign him immediately in January transfer window, or else he'll go all out and really come to Arsenal on a free. So guys, what are your reactions onto this duo that Arsenal is really looking at? One is a CDM, one is a box-to-box midfielder, but he can also play single pivot if at all you play him there, because he's really good on the ball. And Youri Tielemans is one of those players that you would love known to miss out onto your team every time you are really playing the game of football. Not so. I think people really love this guy, Youri Tielemans, and I know everyone has a lot of love for him because this guy is legit. He's legit, and he's really one of those players that has come out and really blessed the Premier League with loads and loads and loads and loads of love, because season in, season out, he's always the same kind of player, and he has never disappointed. Though this season, he started a little bit on the low, and I remember Arsenal fans coming out and really booing him and telling him, please, you are going to be ours by the end of the window, and obviously it never really came to happening, and it never came to materialization for Arsenal to sign this player who goes by the names of Youri Tielemans. But obviously he's really a very good player. If you doubt his capabilities, that means you've not been watching him. But for Danilo, I'm not really a person who has been following that Brazilian league. I know less about him, but I believe Arsenal has really put a lot of confidence in its fans that whenever they point on a player, he comes out and really doesn't flop. Look at the players Mikel has brought in. The only flop, I believe, is Willian. And Willian came out on a free. They never spent a lot of money on him. That's why they terminated his contract immediately at the end of the season of 2020-2021, and they really let him out because he never really performed up to the expectations of the team of Arsenal, and the management really said, let's terminate this contract under mutual terms. So when you look at Fabio Vieira, I believe he's coping up Odegaard, Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, and very many others. They're really doing a better job at Arsenal that none of you will go out and doubt. So guys, your reactions to Arsenal targeting Tielemans and Danilo at once are welcome in the comment section below. And obviously the channel is Rokani Media Football. Smash the like button, comment and share. And if you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. And then you let me know what you think about these two signings that Arsenal are targeting in January. So thank you very much for watching in. I hand you over to the Almighty Lord to really watch over you abundantly, and I sign out for now. See you later as we are returning with the March build-up of Wolverhampton Wanderers hosting Arsenal at Molineux. I'm out.